unaingia shimo kubwa juu napendanga kupewa. Maisha ya nai ikikushinda enda ocha ukalime. Mimi nimechoka, sipendi kukaa nimesota, na heri kusota juu ukiomba utabaki kingoja, na ukiomba mazee itabidi upangane na hoja, na hizo mahoja heri uombe zikuwe mahoya. Nalipia stima mimi sibaki gizani, naandika mizani zangu mingi mimi msanii. Calmie taki pia mimi sikutaki, nasonga mbio sana sikuhitaji. Nilikuwa nimeparara sasa napiganga pasi, nilikuwa nakaa mushadha sasa nakaa wesi. Nikitokea wanabaki wakicheki, nikiongea wanaachwa wakimedi. Naacha kelele, najua kimya silaha ya mamba. Naona target yangu pale na yangu kiaka mwewe. Utahisi baridi, utajua hujaonja barafu. Vile nakuja kasi utaona mimi sinanga breki. Mimi napenda mahedi, nachukianga ushenzi, na sipendi watu lezi wale hawajijengi. Get to the bag, acha tabia za kubaki kama umeketi. Heshimu masaa, acha kupea duwazi chakula malezi. Anakuhepa kila time, yeye ako maspending. Anavangepa akiwa hepa ndio usimcheki. Hela kadhaa yatarusha kwa wale hawampendi. Wakikataa yanarudi mwanampotevu. Nalipia stima mimi sibaki gizani, naandika mizani zangu mingi mimi msanii. Calmie taki pia mimi sikutaki, nasonga mbio sana sikuhitaji. Nilikuwa nimeparara sasa napiganga pasi, nilikuwa nakaa mushadha sasa nakaa wesi. Nikitokea wanabaki wakicheki, nikiongea wanaachwa wakimedi.
This is Black Hot Fire Radio, media for the 21st century.
Niko gizani kila time na mini ya mwanadamu. Nalipa price kubwa sana jumio kwa sanga amani. Vile ameshona uongo maze utaitamani. Mina amani yangu jo yo kitu ya dhamani. Utapiga maze jo mteja patikani.
Hey, that's what is popping right here on a Monday. Karibuni sana to the Calmie African Diary Show. I trust that everyone is doing okay. Remember, it is all about vibing on the highest vibration. And that is what we are all about right here on the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century. Karibuni sana. We had earlier on warned you that it is about to be a wrap. And definitely we are taking it to another level. I trust that your Monday is turning out okay. I trust that you had an amazing weekend. And even before we get to inquire about how your weekend really was, because I trust there is a lot of things that have happened. There's some experiences that perhaps you never thought you'll ever find yourself in, but sadly for just some weird reasons, of course, you got to find yourself in that. And I see at Raymond, you have said that tune is a banger. Definitely, it is a banger. And of course, we are all about some dope music and. The artist of this great jam is known as a KJ, all the way from the 254. So of course, feel free to interact with us. Feel free not to give your views regarding the topic that we do have for you today here, right on the Calmie Africana Diary Show. And also another thing, guys, remember this is the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century. So feel free to interact with us. Feel free to log in. That is at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And once you are logged in, you can proceed and get to listen to some of this music. I mean, it is all about some great jams that you get to play that is for the listeners. Because trust me, music is always food for your soul, and you do not need to feed your soul the wrong type of music. Also, another thing, when you are logged onto the Black Hot Fire website, you can proceed and get that is to read some of the blogs that are lined up there for you. You can also proceed and get that is to read some of the blogs, like I had earlier on said. You can get to watch some of the shows that we have done on previously. You can get to like these shows. You can get to spread these shows, that is in terms of liking, subscribing, telling one another, because trust me, at the Black Hot Fire website, that is a network, all we always do is get to enlighten us. We get to talk about things that do get to happen in Africa. Not only Africa, but the diaspora at large. So there's just a lot of information that you might be missing out here. So of course, do not get to miss that by simply get to log in onto www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Also, we do have other new shows as well that have been lined up for you. Remember, we have said that this time round, we are not about to joke, but this time round, we are about to take everything to a higher notch, because trust me, the moment you get to vibe on a positive vibrations, the moment you get to feel, take yourself to a certain type of a space as an individual. My name is Calmie. This is the Calmie African Diary Show, and we do have other shows as well. And on today's topic, I trust that someone might have gone through this. That is today's topic. And there's just a lot of, how do I get to put this actually? There's just a lot of misinformation to the young kids out there growing right now. To the young kids right now, they believe that when they see a cop, that they are safe. They believe that if, most of them, they actually want to be cops when they grow up, because they believe that the role that they're going to do, it is to serve the people. Well, no hard feelings, because I understand that there might be some individuals, of course, who are listening, who might be cops, or who have relatives who are also, in the security industry. But the topic that I am about to discuss today does not get to generalize every cop in the African country, but a specific type of cops, that is a specific just a number of cops who are actually indulging into this act, and we are about, of course, to talk about that. Let's get to jump more to the music as we keep it the Black Hot Fire Network, media for the 21st century.
Utashinda umeteta na kushoita bidi ujipange. Unaingia shimo kubwa juu unapendanga kupewa. Maisha ya nai ikikushinda enda ocha ukalime. Mimi nimechoka, sipendi kukaa nikaa nimesota. Na heri kusota, juu ukiomba utabaki ukingoja. Na ukiomba, mazee itabidi upangane na hoja. Na hizo mahoja, heri uombe zikuwe mahoya. Na lipia stima, mimi sibaki gizani. Naandika mizani zangu mingi mimi msanii. Kaunitaki, jamii sikutaki. Nasonga mbio sana sikuhitaji. Nilikuwa nimeparara sasa napiganga pasi. Nilikuwa nakaa mushadha sasa nakaa wesi. Ikitokea wanabaki wa
Oh no 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 no. Josephine, you baby, you know, send me. I get the juice and I get the sauce. I go cook you nice pepper soup with no too much sauce. I go do the dance together. Give you left and right from my back. Trust me, I will rock you, mother. You go run me more like a duck. You be like, hey, I like the shocky to my body. You be like, say, baby, I like the shocky to my body. Let me see your sexy touch all over me. Give me nicely all over me. I go do your love for all over me. Give me plenty all all over me. Let me feel your sexy touch all over me. Give me nicely all over me. I can feel your love all over me. Give me plenty all over me. I feel running high and get I feel running high and get my baby love me now. I feel running high and get oh, yeah, make me dance together, super. My baby love together, super. Everybody dance together, super. Oh, yeah, dance together, super. I said, make me dance together, super. I said, the way I feel is sweeter. You tell me, say, baby, I like her more. I said, the dance together, super. Ije, love. I love the sweet, that's your love. This your love now, this your love now, tender. So full and sweet, now on the killer. Come here, the Tracy, I plenty to ya. From my Nambra to America. My love for you, baby, don't go scatter. You don't go scatter, man. You don't go scatter. You don't go scatter, man. You don't go scatter. You sexy, touch all over me. Give me nicely all over me. I can feel your love all over me. Give me plenty all over me. Let me feel your sexy touch all over me. Give me nicely all over me. I can feel your love all over me. Give me plenty all over me. I feel me now, I feel me now, my baby love my I feel me oh, yeah, make me dance together, super. My baby love together, super. Everybody dance together, super. Oh, yeah, dance together, super. It's just a video. Together, super.
Lack of Fan Network Media for the 21st century. Karibuni sana to the Calmie African Diary Show. And of course, it is on a very, very beautiful, rather sunny Monday. Though we know that it is about to rain anytime because we are on the month of April. And one thing is that we are always grateful for this day. We are always grateful to see tomorrow. Because like I've told you, tomorrow is never guaranteed. So make the most you can. Make the most you can today. Ensure that you are happy, irrespective of what you might be going through. And also another thing, do not be expecting a lot from human beings, because trust me, you might be interacting with someone and you think that you're just surviving on some other level. But trust me, only for you to maybe reach home or spend some little time away from this person. And they say that rumors in the African context, we say rumors travel like bush fire. Only for you to realize that this same person you thought you were vibing with is the same person who's actually bad mouthing you. So of course, be aware of those people. Do not always open up to everyone. That is basically what I want to say. And also, disappointments are part and parcel of life. So do not go out there and commit suicide just because someone talked ill about you. And of course, committing suicide is not something that can be advocated for, because if anything, life has a lot to offer. And at Raymond, before I even get to continue, we were jamming to some Nigerian song, and of course it's more like Nigerian. The artist is called Josephine, and the title of the jam is Ikebe. Perhaps you're wondering, what does Ikebe mean? Just like Kenya, we do have our very own slang. Just like Kenya, we do have our own slang. In Kenya, we call it's more like a gengeton. The word genge is, how do I get to put it? Genge is more like, in the ghetto, it is more like involved with crime and so on. That is how some people have gotten to portray it. But I do not want to portray it at that, because we do have some individuals actually living in the ghetto and they're not, indulging into that. So we do have a genge. In Kenya, it is called a genge. It's Sheng, you can't get describe it in many ways, sheng, genge, and something like that. And genge is actually it's more like a group, it's more like a group, a mass of people in terms of musically pronouncing it. Genge is just genge la watu, unajua genge la watu in Swahili, it's more like a group of people. So that's why we do have gengeton, and that's why now we do have genge as a sheng. And the reason I've said I've called it to be more like that is more like putting crime and so on. It is because some people in this group, have decided to take crime to another level. Instead of getting to appreciate Sheng the way it is, they've now made Sheng to be more like involving with a crime. But in short, different African countries have their own way of slang, and Nigeria is not left behind. So the title of this jam was Ikebe. And Ikebe basically means, this is a Niger lingo. This is more like a Niger lingo. And it is more like the bottoms. That is actually what it means. It's more like the behinds in Nigeria. So there you go. That is a new Nigerian term. And at Raymond, you said, I run a YouTube channel showing news for Black people in the UK, defining the narrative. Wow. Perhaps at Raymond, you can proceed and get to share with us the link with that. I believe we do have a lot that we can get to discuss together. I believe we do have a lot of unique informations. The more we get to share, the more we get to educate the people out there. So that is some great work you are doing, that, Raymond. And you have said, oh, that is the link you've shared. I'll definitely I get to copy this. I'll definitely share this with the family. And you've said, I am sat waiting for the topic of the day. Basically, we are about to discuss the topic of the day. And you've gone ahead and say that the lies will get around the world before the truth gets out of bed. Wow, that is some a type of rhyming skills there. But then again, I just love, for a fact, you are definitely speaking the right way. And before you even get to venture into the topic of the day, because I believe there's a lot of lies, in the security firm. There's a lot of lies in the security industry, and I bet that today it is good we get to talk about it, because many people out there, they're just still lost. Many people out there, they're just messed up into this. That for example, you are let me say, just living in any place, irrespective of the place, and most of the time you get to go through some maybe a crime has been done at you, and you feel like yeah, considering I am a patriotic citizen, then it is my right, it is my role to go to the nearest police station and report this incident. Perhaps let me use the example of maybe some thieves broke into your house, or maybe the night before, leashed guns at you, and the next thing you realize is that you gave them everything, they took your money. Maybe some of them went ahead and did hurt you in the process. So you believe the right way to actually go and display this information is to go to the nearest police station. And maybe one thing led to another, and you were able to take the look of one of the suspects, actually. So most of the time on okay, it happens of course in different places, but I don't think Kenyans are that serious with that, unless it is something affecting a politician. So you go there, you describe, there's someone sketching that, and in between the sketch they get to realize this is one of our members, actually. So what is the way forward? Because there's this working code that you always have. There's this working code that you always have, that you should not betray your colleagues, irrespective whether you are in the security industry, whether you are in the media industry, whether you are in the engineering industry, just any industry. There's that code. There's that code that you get to put in together as colleagues. So what basically happens when most of the time when they realize that it is, their colleague was actually indulging into this crime, most of the time that case will not be taken anywhere. Even if you move to many police stations, trust me, they'll always refer you to the police station nearby your place. So you'll be stuck with no justice at all. You'll be stuck enduring losses, and yet you can basically say that, yes, this was the perpetrator who actually did this to me. And let me repeat once more, or let me put it more like a disclaimer. I'm not saying that everyone, in the police or rather in the security industry is indulging into this. But I am saying there's that lot somewhere that gets to actually be that thief you're looking for, that get to be actually be that assailant you are looking for. And it hurts, it hurts on a daily basis to get to see that young kids, even the toys that their moms or their dads get to buy them, maybe they get to buy them toys with the military or toys with representing the police. And this kid, when you get to ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? They'll be like, I want to be a police officer, such that I'll be able to protect the people from evil. But in between their growth process, that was then when they were a kid, they're now into campus. Perhaps sometime they have been arrested or not, and they come to realize that this industry is pretty much messed up. And I am not discouraging anyone who actually wants to be in the security industry, but I am for a fact saying that there is a lot that is happening out here. At Golden Heart, you say, hello, my daughter Calmie. Hello to you too at Golden Heart. Karibu sana to the Calmie African Diary Show. At Keith, good morning. Keith, can you hear me? All right, as we are waiting on Keith, I think there is an issue on his end, but we are about to discuss the situation that is happening in the police industry. This is not the first time that we have been talking about it. We have been talking about how they are living in poor conditions, how the police are the first ones, to be like, okay, they're getting peanuts for a pay, but I do not want to say that that is part of the reason as to why some of them get to indulge into crime. The police in Kenya will get an average of 18,000 Kenyan shilling. That is 18,000 Kenyan shilling. That is approximately $18 a police in Kenya. And let me just share with you, police housing actually in Kenya. That is the police housings in Kenya. And then, at the end of this show, I want us to, come together and say for a fact, is this some of the reasons as to why they do get to indulge into crime? Let me share with you this, and you can tell me. But then again, this does not get to justify that you get to indulge into crime, because you are risking your life to serve the nation, and what you're getting is not enough. These are some of the housings. Let me just share this with the family. All right, here we go. Oopsie, what did I do? All right, let me just share this once more. All right, Keith, can you hear me? Hello, Keith.
Hey, good morning, Calmie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. My voice is a little hoarse. I was doing the show last night, Saturday, and last night, so my voice is a little bit hoarse. How was your weekend?
Sorry for that. My weekend was fine. Keith. I cannot complain.
I seen you trying to dance to some music. Baby mamas are not supposed to be dancing.
I'm a fly baby mama. I'm not so much baby mama.
Oh man. Oh, my voice. So what's your show about today, Calmie?
All right, I'm talking about the surge in crime rate, and most of the people who are actually conducting these crimes are police officers in Africa. I don't know in your country they get to do that, but in Africa. And on the screen,
hold on, Calmie. Not like the way you do. In America, yeah, are the police criminals? Yes, but not the way they're in Africa. They're highly paid in America. It's not about them being taking money, like they do in African countries. No, they're well paid here. It's about them being able to kill without no justice. They're able to murder people without going to prison. Here in the United States, police can kill at will, and no one ever goes to prison for the crimes that they create. But as far as them, the bribes and the taking money, no, not so much. Africans do that. Police in Africa do that because they're impoverished. The countries have been put in poverty, so they prey on the people. And remember, these establishments were created by the European. There was no police in Africa before the Europeans showed up. There was no such thing as a police force in Africa, Calmie, nowhere. That's not our tradition. That's the European. But yeah, of course. So during this pandemic, they've been what, stealing money from people.
Yeah, they've been actually indulging into crime. That's thief who actually broke into your eyes and bet you up and stole a lot of equipment, a lot of electronics, took your money. Is that same police officer you are going to report that incident to? That is what has been happening. And on the screen, Kit, this is some of the housing. These are some of the housings that police officers in Kenya actually live. I've seen this on most places. The one that the casa is moving at. I've also seen this. This is where you expect someone to put their lives in danger and get to protect you and return back home. They're sharing more than 3 families. This type of housing here. This is for junior officers, and this one has not many places have gotten to have this type of housing. These are the reasons why.
No wonder why they out there. No wonder why they out there robbing people. Calmie, good God, shit. Why they out there corrupt? That houses. Who can live in that shit?
It's messed up, very messed up. And for these modern ones that they have come about with, they're still, tiny. Still, you have to share with, more than 2 families. So it is just so messed up in the country. And I'm just wondering, is this part of the reason that has contributed to the police officers?
Hold on, Calmie. Hold on, Calmie.
Yes.
Hold on, Calmie. 2 families supposed to live in that little thing? 2 families.
Yes.
2 families supposed to live up in there?
Absolutely, no lies. I think sometime we can just walk around. Yeah, I think sometimes we can walk around and low-key get to
crazy.
Yeah. Keith, I'm saying, I think sometimes you can walk around and get to low-key, get to video some of the places the police officers live, or get to video some of, at the police station. Some of these police stations, you can actually demolish them because they are in very, very pathetic conditions.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because all the money, the systems in Africa were set up by the British and the French and the Portuguese, and they're completely corrupt. They're not well paid. Where you got the political class are stealing all the money out of the country, so that forces everybody else to be corrupt because the political class that the British set up are stealing all the damn money. They get all the money. Kenya has one of the highest paid political class on the planet.
Yeah.
Just like Nigeria. And it's corrupt as shit. That means all the money goes to this political class and never to the people, never to its services, never to the police that are supposed to be there to protect and defend. So they are made liable because now they got to prey on the people that they're supposed to protect because they're impoverished as well. They're impoverished as well. Why the fuck, Calmie, is Uhuru Kenyatta worth $500 million? Huh? Why the fuck?
Exactly.
How can he be worth $500 million and Kenya is in poverty?
And Keith, to even add on that, I agree with you. To even add on that is that he was ranked to be amongst the richest people in Kenya right now. He's a billionaire actually in
Of
the
course.
country.
Of course. That's what I told Spikes reverse engineered the whole thing Saturday. Where he lined it all up. Things that a lot of Kenyans don't know about Lord Delamere and Karen. We went back into Karen when you guys in that area, that Karen lady. I looked at a movie when I was a child. I didn't know that was that Karen lady they were talking about. I was like, that's that lady. Mike said, yeah, that's her. I'm like, motherfucker, that's that lady. But they still got this shit named. Go ahead, Cam.
And Keith, one thing about that Karen thing. Karen in Nairobi is one of the posh places. It is, one of the posh places. This is where most of the MPs, most of, those people doing, business in courts underwater get to live. So if we actually did get to take an opportunity to like move around, though you are not allowed to take any videos and so on their premises, that is where the mafias actually get to live. Karen.
Yeah, of course, because their salaries are so inflated, Cammy, compared to the rest of the country. Like I was showing Spike, you guys, Congress people or MPs, you call them, Congress, make more than American Congress people. Nigeria, how the fuck can congressmen in Kenya or Nigeria make more than the ones in America? How's that even
exactly
possible? Or China? How's that possible? Because it's corrupt. And then Spike said they want to add some more MPs or some more government, a prime minister, and some other loony ass shit. When the country's in debt, country's fucking in hock to the British and the goddamn Chinese. You talking about making another goofy post? We're gonna make a prime minister. You can't pay the goddamn bills you got now, dummies. What are you talking about?
We're just going to be messed up in the next 5 years because Uhuru, I just remember some people who danced for kilometers campaigning for President Uhuru. That is the Jubilee Party. And in terms of what you're talking about, Keith, that is adding more MPs. It is called the Building Bridges Initiative. So Uhuru might come back, given another role in the government. You can imagine how messed up that is going to be. And also, the last time I checked, they had borrowed billions of money to push this agenda. So borrowing billions of money to push a political agenda, yet you do have nurses and doctors striking, yet you do have the police officers living in such, in such conditions. So you can imagine, if I was a police officer, there's no way I'm going back home waiting for only $18 at the end of the month and going back to such
Hold on, Cammy. Why? Well, what are you saying? That
18.
Policemen are making $18 a month?
I meant $180.
No.
18,000.
How much?
1,800.
How much is that?
That is 18,000 Kenyan shillings.
18,000 is what? What's that like? How much? 18,000 shillings in American money. How much is that? $80.
180.
Okay,
Yes.
180. So
Yes.
Okay. So what? Okay, that's fucking crazy. We had a police officer making 180, and so the police only making 180, while you got the MPs are the highest paid MPs in the world, and not just in Africa, in the fucking world. How can you have somebody as a worth $500 million who, because they were put there by the British? That family wasn't worth no fucking money. And shout out to Spike. Spike reverse engineer. Spike did do a show what he did Saturday when he was connecting the dots. He knows how to reverse engineer things now. But he was connecting the dots. I was like, damn, that Lord Delamere, that Karen owned half of fucking Nairobi. I didn't know none of that. I was like, wow.
That is what's up.
How could you own it when you came in and stole the shit? The Africans just say, hey, Karen, here's all our land. Please take it, white cracker. Take all our land.
It is all unto you, white Karen.
And it's still called Karen. They didn't change the name today. How the
They
fuck could you
do.
allow some part of Nairobi to still be called Karen? What?
There's even a lot of business premises around that particular place. For example, there's a museum that is called the Karen Bixen. There's just a lot of places under her name. So even after all
Yeah,
these years,
Spike showed me.
thinking
Yeah,
that
Spike showed me.
uh-huh. So Keith, that is the reason as why
Yeah, Spike showed me the Karen
Mhm.
Museum, the Karen. I'm like,
Yes, Keith, I'm saying that is the reason as to why I get to see that
I'm sorry,
during the
Tammy, go ahead.
campaign. Yes, I'm saying that is the reason as to why you see that during the campaign periods, you get to see that some MPs, that is, some members of parliament, get to disappear. Some of them get to be killed because they know that having a political seat in Kenya is a life opportunity whereby you can get to scheme a lot of money. You can get to grab land the way you wish. You can get to steal. You
Exactly.
can get
That's
come
right.
about tenders, fake tenders.
Exactly, Cammy. It's a racket. That's how you get
Mhm.
out. You go into politics in these African countries because that's where all the money is. The reason why they
Yes.
say, "Why do you rob banks?" They used to have bank robbers in America. Why do you rob banks? They said, "Hell, because that's where the money is." Shit. So just like in Kenya, why do you become a political official? That's where the money's at. That's where the
Exactly.
money's at. So just like I showed with Spikes, with that wicked ass Cecil Rhodes, who Zimbabwe and Zambia was named after, called Rhodesia. That wicked ass cracker demanded to be laid to rest with him and his faggot ass boyfriend in Zimbabwe. And I'm like, why haven't they dug this raggedy ass cracker's bones up, Cammy, and sent his ass back to fucking Europe, back to England? Why they
Yeah.
allowed? So every year, white supremacists, Cammy, they take a pilgrimage to Cecil Rhodes' grave that's in one of the African fucking monuments. It's Spike,
What?
yeah, show this up, Cammy. Go to your share your screen and say images of Cecil Rhodes' grave site. Images who hates black people, but why did he demand to be buried in Africa? Demanded. I want to and demand to be buried in an African shrine with him and his faggot lover. And white supremacists go every year to make a pilgrimage to his goddamn grave site. Yay, this is the cracker that stole most of Africa, yay, and enslaved these niggas, yay.
Let me share this.
Yeah.
You know, Africans, we just so afraid to like speak our minds. We're just so afraid to like do what is required, do what is right once and for all.
That's the old, that's the old people, Cammy. The youth are gotta say enough is enough. The youth are gotta dig this old racist faggot cracker up and send his ass back to Europe. Look at that. Right there in Zimbabwe, demanded, I want to be buried in the African shrine.
Wow. So she can be worshipped?
Exactly.
This,
Exactly, Cammy.
I really do not understand from the white Jesus, but you know, I was just so happy the last time I was interacting with some of my friends. They're like, Jesus was black. I was like, at least for a moment, someone is learning history.
Well, hold on, Cammy. People want to make him black. Jesus didn't even exist, Cammy. It's made up. But if he did exist, he would have been black. Because at that time, the area of Africa was black. There were no white people in Egypt like you got today, the white Arabs. There were no white people in what you call Israel or Palestine. That was still black 2,000 years ago. So if he did exist, he would have been black. The story is made up. It's a lie. There was no cracker Jesus, and there was no black Jesus. It's made up. Just like you got shout out to Dr. Mumbai who finally understood that. It's made up, Cam. It's a lie. Then they took Africans. Okay, imagine your ancestors, right? Who were spiritual people. They took their concepts, Cammy, and put a person for the concept that you created. Then they came back in Africa Yeah, then they came back into Africa and told you, well, these concepts that were African. There was a man. There's a white man who was the God. You're like, first you're like, what? How you talking about? Yeah, since we conquering you niggas, the white man, our God must be stronger than your God. Since we conquering you,
Exactly.
and unfortunately, the African, as Dr. Mama said, you forsake your own great grandparents. And that's a no. And I will say she's right. Our ancestors are mad. They're mad that Cecil Rhodes is buried in that fucking land.
And even her place is termed as a high resolution. Grave of Cecil Rhodes high resolution. Like, which type of resolution is this again? High resolution on someone who hated you. Yes, we do still have a lot to actually learn.
Yeah, someone hated you. You forgive it, and just like what's that? I would like you to read. I forgot that British guy's name when he went to Africa. The African doesn't know his history. This is just recent. Just before you got colonized, it was these British are running around Africa. Say, how can we conquer these niggas? They run around and say, the African is rich. So what nobody in poverty, like I try to teach you like you are today. He said, the guy was sitting there to figure out how can we conquer these Africans. They really don't need anything we have. They're wealthy. They're moral. They're moral to a point of he said we gotta destroy their religions. Well, what religion? We gotta destroy the spiritual system, get them to worship us, and we got to impoverish them. That's the only way we can conquer the African. And it's right there written. What's the guy's name? The British guy who wrote, because he was going through Africa. African people, are kind and loving. That's our nature. We don't realize these motherfuckers are wolves. I mean, we should now. We should realize that now. But at the end, we'll let you in. We'll treat you like a human being, not knowing that the motherfuckers sizing you up. Then how can we conquer these niggas and take over Africa? And he surmised the Africans are rich, because that's a fact. African doesn't know that no more because they've been put in poverty, and gave him fake history from these Brits. He said we must destroy their educational system. Now this is what the British said when he was going through Africa. We must destroy their educational system. We must make the African not know himself anymore.
True.
We must destroy their religion, their spiritual system. And that's what they've done. That they destroyed. They gave you the fake white Jesus, and black people will kill you over that lie. It's a lie when they gave it to you. They'll kill you for that.
That is correct.
Lie. And now you're impoverished. Now, isn't it funny? When you didn't have white Jesus, you was wealthy. Everybody envied Africa. Now you got white Jesus, and everybody in Africa is fucking poor. How's that?
Everybody was bad. I don't think we had beggars or.
Yeah, and you don't know your history anymore because you're told, like Spike said, they said we got to destroy the history and we got to destroy the educational system. Isn't it funny? The British put in their system of education, which is a fucking lie. The French part of Africa put in their educational system, which is a fucking lie. Taught Africans how to hate themselves. Taught Africans that their color was bad. All lies, all of it. And then told them that a white man was God. Oh my God. Told them a white man who got here 2 days ago is God. Wow.
That is correct.
And
in terms
of the shit.
True.
I'm sorry, Spike. I'm Calmie. Go ahead, Calmie.
Yes, true. I agree with you in terms of that. And these education systems have messed us up. Some children have been punished by their parents because of they've scored low in class, and their parents think that they're not worthy. I mean, it is just more like divided the society. And at Raymond is saying that the rest.
You're exactly right, Kevin. Because when the parents don't know no better, they don't mean no harm to the kids' lives, and the grandparents, they don't know no better. They've been told went to these missionary schools, the school system. And that's on purpose. I give you the school system, Cammy, I've now destroyed your mind. You're going to give that indoctrination to your children, not knowing it's a lie. And if your children say, "Well, mommy, this is a lie," I learned. You better not tell me it's no damn lie. That's where I've learned, and it's the truth. And you better follow white Jesus. And that's what they teach in those schools in Kenya. They teach that white Jesus shit. It's indoctrination. And it's a lie. And it teaches white supremacy. And so when these kids grow up, they worship white people. And they're afraid to say, "Hey, cracker, fuck is wrong with you? We're not going to be under your ass." They talk, "Oh no, he's the white man. We love the white man. He's God."
And
the most
go on.
Let me say this first, Cammy. Let me say this. The most wickedest bastard on the planet, Cammy, can't be God. Let me say this again. The most wickedest motherfucker on the planet can't be God. Go ahead, Cammy. You got it.
And I'm just reading a comment here by Raymond. He's saying that the rest of the black world is impatient for Africans to retake control of the corrupt officials.
We are impatient. You're right.
Wealth.
Because the tide, I'm gonna interrupt you again. Let me just say this, Kevin. You head back. Until Africa rises, African people all over the world will be disrespected. If Africans disrespected African people, I don't care if you're in America, Brazil, the Caribbean, wherever you at, until Africa gets its shit together, African people around the world will be disrespected. When it was in control, African people were respected. Go ahead, Cammy, you got it.
Absolutely correct. I agree with Keith. I also agree with Raymond. And in terms of African rising, let me tell you, Africa would have united over 60 years ago. But we do have one key player in Africa. That is the UN. Keith, the UN has divided us through a lot of,
because of the Cammy. UN was set up as it's a white supremacist tool. It wasn't set up for black people. The IMF was set up to keep Africans in power. The World Bank, these are white things set up to keep the African. If they were never set up, hey, the IMF was set up to help black people. Hey, the UN was set up to help. No, UN, all these things are started by the racists to empower. So when you came out supposedly colonialism, do me a favor. Go to Dr. Mumby's live channel for me, Cammy. She got one right, like when she's telling you, "No, you never, beloveds, you never came out of colonialism." She's finally getting, "No, you didn't." They put their puppets and their fake system to make sure they keep stealing out of Africa. Because you look at Europe and people run across the damn Mediterranean trying to get to Europe, not knowing their own history, is that Europe doesn't have anything. It all comes out of Africa. It's the stealing of African resources. So all they did was pretend they left by putting their puppets and their political system there.
Exactly.
That's what they did, and then gave black individuals, sadly enough, an educational system that teaches them to hate themselves, teaching them lies. Don't teach that Africa was great at one time, which is a fact. Africans ruled the world, which is another fact. They don't teach the African none of that. That he once ruled the world. That Africa's always been wealthy.
They don't teach you that. And also the UN, and I agree with you, Keith. Also the UN, what it does most is give our leaders some more money and make them as corrupt as possible. And Keith, in terms of in terms of the Dr. Mumbi live, is this the one that is titled "They Are Doing This on Purpose"?
Yeah, is that the one? It might be that one or the one before it. What's the one before that video? Can we call? They do it on purpose, and what's the other? Yeah, it might be that one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one. All right.
What's the one before that one?
One day ago, who is killing our African presidents? That is by Dr. Mumbi.
Okay. Oh yeah. That's a good one too. She said the puppets. Oh yeah, play that one, Cammy. Then play that one because because you're telling the truth everybody who spoke out against the pandemic and said, you know what, we're going to push back on the Europeans.
Yes.
They got murdered. And we got to play the game like we don't know the Europeans are not murdering these African leaders when they step out of line. That's a fact. When you step out of line, your ass is murdered.
True.
Like Magufuli. Magufuli didn't just die and he was an accident. No, they said, listen here, this nigga's not going along with this thing to kill these black people. It's time to get rid of his ass. Time to kill him.
They do not want anyone who is standing strong on their principles, on helping the Africans.
No, because Africa's rich. Without Africa, I'll be broke. And like she said,
Africa.
Let me just get this.
So Pepe.
Go on, Kit.
No, what she honestly said, what I told you guys, France and England are third world countries, not Africa. Without Africa, England goes into poverty. Without Africa, France goes into poverty. The African doesn't know this. So shout out to Dr. Mumba, who learned, because she was a Jesus nut. She had to learn that Jesus wasn't real. It probably hurt her feelings, but she learned it. It wasn't that he's black, Calmie. It didn't exist. But if he did exist, he would be black, Calmie. Okay? If he did, he still would be black. Go ahead.
Too good she got right on a track. Right on a track. Let me just get to share this as we get to proceed with the show.
Perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits to the fight for African freedom. And in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines.
And welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own vibe, in your own rhythm. Thanks to every single person that has subscribed to the channel. We appreciate, love you so much. Go ahead and consider subscribing, beloveds, if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that notification button so that you find out every single time we upload a new episode. Thanks to every single person that also emails us, and also, you know, special shout out to our Patreon family. Absolutely. We do release the news on there because I've been getting a lot of emails after the death of the Chad president. A lot of people wanting to know what my take is. I shared that as breaking news, you know, on Patreon and kind of gave my 2 cents. But I thought I'd cover it on this from a spiritual angle, beloveds, because in the last 1 year, 5 of Africa's presidents have been taken out. Could you imagine if the same thing happened in Europe, where 5 European presidents were, died within the space of a year? It's not normal. And we have to see that the Great Reset, especially how it's going to evolve and take shape on the African continent, is quite different. The agenda they have for us is quite different. It's a neo-colonial agenda. Many actually on the continent feel that the whole pandemic was about slowing Africa down. And it's always about us, beloveds. It's always been about us. And if you look, before the pandemic, I think 1 out of the 10 top, fastest growing nations were on the continent. And now, we're back, many were getting free from debt, et cetera, starting to assert themselves in mining and various different industries, trying to claim their power back. And then boom, the pandemic happened. And then now we're literally back, especially countries like Kenya. We're literally back to the 90s when there was, a scramble for Africa. This is the new scramble for Africa. And they told us in 2019 and 2020, I think 2019, I really covered this a lot, where they were talking about dividing Africa anew, China becoming a new player. We saw Russia coming into Africa. We even saw Turkey, beloved, coming into Africa. So there is a reset And the great global reset is very different from the reset that they're trying to have in Africa. They're trying to reset us back to the dictatorial, total neo-colonial control by the puppet masters. They're either going to do it through regime change, or they'll do it through economic manipulation and control, like in Kenya. I mean, our debt went from 1.7 trillion maybe a couple of years ago to 7 trillion. And now the World Bank is coming in government. Like, you need to privatize this, you need to do that. This is what happened in the 90s, beloveds. You really need to research. If you're interested in what's, the trends of Africa, the structural adjustment programs that the World Bank and the IMF came up with. And what happened with those programs is that a lot of our resources were privatized. That's when our water was privatized. And they got us in the debt trap. You see what China's doing? Babylon did it first. In the 90s, they borrowed they lent money to all these dictators that were in Africa to run these massive governments, colonial governments that they had left in place. And then as the debt increased, of course, the corruption, they started giving personal handouts. When the debt reached a certain level, they actually owned the country, and then they started to dictate. Privatize your electricity, privatize your telecom. That's why the British Telecom owns the local Kenyan, one of the Kenya's biggest, and maybe East Africa's biggest telecom, Safaricom. It's because we had to privatize this. Many nations had to privatize this. And this is how we lost many of our resources after we'd struggled to get them. So we've never been free, because you cannot be free in a Babylon system, in a Babylon government. But now, so aside from the economic kind of entrapment that they're doing for willing leaders like our own here, the other thing they're doing is that if you don't play ball, they are literally taking you out. Beloveds, we've lost 5 presidents. Not that these presidents really, were doing anything for them. Many of them were already puppets. But, the thing is, before, as puppets, you could say yes, no, yes, no. Now, the Mzungu only wants a yes, one no, and you get kicked out. And so there is a lot of fear and apprehension among the African presidents that still have, their mental faculties together. But beloveds, listen to this. Let me just go through the people, First of all, the Ivory Coast president, Hamed Bakoyoko, he actually passed on 3rd March. And then 2 weeks later, literally, Tanzanian President John Magufuli passed on 17th March. And last year, beloveds, remember Burundian president, where there was a quick election, and then the next thing we saw, the president had died, Pierre Nkurunziza. He died on 8th June. And Swaziland president, Ambrose Dlamini, he also died in December. And now we have Idris Deby, Chad president, who had gone to the rebel front lines to see what was going on, and he was taken out. But the 4 previous presidents I just mentioned, they all opposed the pandemic and were trying to protect their people. And they have now been replaced by more compliant people. But as I've said, beloveds, we can influence these leaders with our spiritual energy. If enough people collectively are sending a certain vibe to a president, that will tip the balance. But I'll definitely get into that later on. But you see, what's happened, beloveds, is that if you also look, a lot of the presidents, all these 5 presidents, they had just survived an election. And that's what the government, so they'll try and get you financially. If they don't get you financially, then they'll try and get you through the election. And that's why you'll see all this negative stuff about the leaders they don't want and how they're like this and they're like that. And then if you survive the election, then they will take you out. These are really perilous times, beloveds. And it's not so much, as I was saying earlier, that these leaders are for us or they were puppets or whatever, but it's an attack on our sovereignty as an African nation. How can we have lost 5 African presidents, beloveds, in a year? And what's happening actually is that, in France, I've been looking at a lot of tweets after this guy was, after Idris Deby was taken out. And there's some people who I follow. This guy's called Onyen Kuzi, and he was talking about how France has actually managed to to change, to transition, from father to son in various regimes. When the father became difficult, something happened to the father and the son took over. It started with Yadema of Togo. He was replaced by his son, Faureg Anisimbe. There's also Omar Bongo Ondimba. He was replaced by his son Ali Bongo Ondima and Ondimba. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names. And now Idris Derby has been replaced by his son. Why are their sons, why are they being replaced by their sons? Is it because the son is more willing to follow orders than the father? Can we hope that the sons will actually try and, fight the regime? Mama! My neighbor, he always comes to see, what I'm doing. But, and now Chad actually has their youngest 37-year-old head of state. So what is really going on, beloveds? Who is taking out our African presidents? It's the colonialists, because they never left. Colonialism never ended, beloveds. That's the truth right now. And they are removing even the mildest of gatekeepers who were on their side before. Anyway, let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Dr. Mumbi has hit the nail on the head. Yeah, can you hear me? All right, Kit, let me know if you can hear me. But I really love this information. It takes a lot of confidence to actually come about this. And I see Light Bearer, you have joined us. You said hi, Calmie. Hi, family. Hi, at Light Bearer. And Bruce, when you said Mumbi used to deal with scamming Fields Court Marble. All right, I think that was back then. Maybe she reformed at Bruce Wayne. We give people chances to reform. But anyway, that is all about in time.
She used to be with what now? What did you say? Yeah, we're talking about with Phil. Yeah, with Phil. But
exactly.
Like I said, she woke up. Phil, yeah, because we went out to Phil, me and Spike did, and that's when she was with him, and she was on that Jesus shit. Somebody, like I said, one of the old shamans in Kenya who still exists. I told you they went underground. Shamans, they said, when the African became too stupid and got rid of all his ancestors for crackers, I told you the real knowledge went underground because it had to go underground. It went underground.
Yeah.
And so somebody pulled her to her side, like she said, and told Mumbi, what you're saying in this Jesus shit is lies. And they took somebody put her to the side and taught her the truth. They showed her. They must have knew she was able to take the truth. A lot of Africans can't deal with that truth.
Exactly.
That the Jesus that you've been given is a lie. Like I said, these presidents are getting taken out, and the youth are going to say, fuck it. We're going to have to go to war against the European and this Asian because it's the fight for Africa, which is wealth. Reason why you're impoverished, because you worship the cracker. You worship the Chinese. They're not there to be your friend. They're there to rob African people. They're not there to be your buddy. They're not there to help you, because everything is in Africa. Africa doesn't need anybody. Africa doesn't need the world. The world needs Africa. All Africa's got to do is what? Develop and start manufacturing its goods into what? Finished products. Everybody's trying to stop that, because if they do that, the African goes back to the top again. He's not impoverished. But if I keep the African impoverished, as me and Spike says, the African can't think. He can't critically think if he's living what? Hand to mouth. He's worried about his next meal. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm hungry. I'm worried about my next meal. I just know they told me that white Jesus is real. I believe in white Jesus. I can't think my way out of it. So it's going to take the youth.
That is correct.
The youth. That's why, just like Spike said, that's why the internet is so expensive in Africa. Africa's impoverished, and it's the most expensive place to get internet in Africa.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you to connect with other African people.
And, Kit, regarding that, Dr. Mumbi, regarding the internet, Dr. Mumbi has just mentioned it. That is, we do have the biggest internet platform, that is Safaricom, and let me tell you, it is expensive as hell. And she just talked about
And who owns it? And who owns it, Calmie? The Kenyans don't own it. Like I said, the Kenyans don't own it. The
They
British
don't
own it.
own it.
Kenyans don't own the shit. So it's just Kenyans don't own the news. I'm about to try to tell Joby, how she's sitting there. When you're looking at the Kenyan news, Joby, it's propaganda. You don't own it. When they tell you, oh, these Africans are dying, oh, the pandemic, oh, you don't own it, Joby. They do. It's a lie. When you're looking at the Kenyan news, you think it's you're being taught the news. It's propaganda. Propaganda.
It's always controlled. And
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Calmie.
And Keith, let me just share one short video in terms of the police that I was earlier on talking about before you get to end up the show. I'm just going to share the fact that the police have actually been hiring their guns, to some of the suspects, in crime and so on. And actually, if you get to return that gun, you have to, give something in return. Hiring a gun in Kenya, that is, if you have links right now, you can get a gun, a kit for $10. $10, you can get your own gun. Go out there, commit crime, rob, return that gun back with interest. And there's this one undercover journalist who did it. And this information has been aired out about last week, but it was covered about a year ago. So right now she is in safety, because trust me, everyone is looking out for her. So she has, of course, to be in safety. Sad thing that you get to cover a story, and so long as it gets to touch who is in the society, you have to run for your safety. That is how the journalism in Africa is messed up. Let me share this before you get to end up the show. Kit, you might think I'm lying, but this is what is happening.
Oh,
that you can even
lying?
Yeah, I might be tripping. This is what is happening in the country, and this is just in a snippet.
Straight to our special feature now. It may sound like fiction, but it is one of Kenya's saddest and literally spine.
Kit, that is Uhuru's cousin on the screen. Kit, can you hear me?
No wonder. How about that?
This is, you can tell
that's Uhuru's cousin. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, the whole family and whole families now, and that's in Africa, where you got all these corrupt families that have been given positions because they family members, not because they're confident. It's nepotism on steroids. Oh, he's part of my tribe in my country. Well, he's an idiot, but he is part of my tribe, and I'll give him a position. When this other person is functional, knows what he's doing, and your tribal cousin is a fucking idiot. That's another problem that they set up.
He's actually earning a lot of money. He's earning, I think, close to $500,000, times $500,000 in journalism in Kenya, and yet there's someone who's being given that $180 per month. So there has been a lot of complaints.
How's this dude being a judge? That's how you know. That's how you know the Kenyans don't own the news media, because the salaries would have to be comparable, Calmie, to the other people in the country. You couldn't pay a damn journalist in Kenya $500,000 goddamn dollars, because that's above the living wage of most Kenyans. That's how you know it's propaganda, because the country couldn't afford to pay this idiot $500,000. The country couldn't afford it.
True. And that is on a month. So he gets to ride and enjoy the likes of the G-Wagons and so on. But who are we to complain? Let me just share this. This is in terms of the Gansa Gallo that was being done in the country.
He has even lost count of people he robbed and killed using a police gun.
Wenye mimi najua pampa, mimi najua ni kwa 100%. Jojo kunini unaendanga manze, ukihepa unapiga, sasa utamjua ulipiga mtu ama kwa kupiga. Tuseme kama mimi wenye najua 100% watu kama wa ile.
Ikatakiwa na kuvote.
Mimi wasinaambia kitu yote.
Ustukai?
Wewe si stupid. Hakuna saa napata nikiwa soba, kila saa niko matoto zangu.
He says his mother played a big role in his journey to join the criminal world.
Nakumbuka kuna siku chuo moja shenishika, nilikuwa na kabag, nilikuwa nafichanga doa hapa hivi ndani. Kutoa kanipata niko na ngiri mbao. Na tulikuwa tumepanga chuo tukaenda kwa buda mwingine, kwa wachapetu na msi wa chuo. Akona do tukamsanya. Hizo do ndio nilikuwa nimeficha. Hasa kunipata nazo. Wakapiga simu mtaa. Madhe kuja pia madhe akanichezea koroko. Kadai yeye hizo do zilikuwa ni nini, kwa hiyo nimetuma pesa fulani. Hapo ni story lakini zikarudi. Ndio story ikaishia hivyo. Unaona?
He was barely 18 years old at the time, and he has never turned back since then.
Sasa pole pole nikuja nikiingia tu kwa crime, nikahepa chuo. Jeshi yangu yenye sana ndio kushikana nayo hapa. Tukaanza kwenda tukiwa magunia si kama chokora. Tunje tuingie tukitime kama kunikuwa kwa uyuko, tunavunja.
Sometimes it can be arranged with the very same security authority, the police. On the 25th of October 2019, these police uniforms and weapons were found in the house of Corporal David Odhiambo Mitu, who was attached to Kayole police station after his fellow police officers raided his house in Mehangu, Kayole Estate.
It's abnormal for an officer to have more than 10 police uniforms. What will other police officers wear? We are normally given 3. If it is an extra, maybe 4, but over 10, that's abnormal.
We approached players in the weapons business who demonstrated to us the ease with which acquisition of firearms is executed. From automatic weapons to pistols, from police uniforms to handcuffs, everything is available for hire.
Halo, ni aje baba? Nilikuwa nauliza kama kuna place unaweza pata mali niende shughuli fulani alafu nikurudishie. Yoyote kama bag ama seska. Sawa. Shughuli utanisho.
I'm now headed to Nakuru. A policeman attached to Njero police station has agreed to hire out his handcuffs to us. But the policeman thinks we're gangsters. Once we get there, we'll send in our contact person to go pick them up for us. Come with me, let's see how it goes.
After 2.5 hours drive, we reached Njoro police station and went straight to the reporting desk. And within a short while, my colleague walks out with what appears to be a package.
They have a serial number.
We hired this with only 1,000 shillings. We are supposed to return them after 24 hours.
This ain't nothing but fluff, Calmie. Calmie.
Yes?
This
Yes?
is fluff. This is fluff. Because it doesn't get, see, this is fluff journalism, Calmie. And I get into the root of the problem. The root of the problem why people have guns because of poverty. So while they do no investigative study on the Europeans still controlling Kenya and how the Kenyatas get money and why was Jomo Kenyatta put in power and now called the father of the country. Because you didn't know he was set up by the British.
Exactly.
why don't they do that reporting, Calmie? Why don't they do it? Hey, who actually controls Kenya? Why don't you ever hear that damn story? Because they're not allowed to. Because they don't own Kenya don't own the fucking media. They can say, hey, you know what? Reason why we're in debt because these puppets were put here, and they gave us a British system that is not African, that we can't afford it. And why don't they do a real investigative say, let's see who the fuck this white Jesus is. Where did it come from? And why did these crackers give it to us? Let's see that. Let's put that journal. Let's go back and research this fake white Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's show black. Let's show the Kenyans whether it's real or whether it's not real. They're not going to do that. They're not going, because that's going to free the Kenyans' mind. We're gonna do the fake joke about the gun. And who gives a shit? If I was impoverished, I wouldn't need a fucking gun. If my money wasn't stolen by the British and all my resources taken with this fake ass Safaricom, which is supposed to be owned by Africans, I wouldn't need no gun to rob people, motherfucker. How about that? Oh, you know, we're not going to allow none of that journalism. We'll let these niggas believe that Kenya News is owned by them, but it's not. They don't own none of it. That's why no real stories concerning Kenya will ever be told. Those are just, and we kept them ignorant in their schools. We didn't teach them how to correctly think, so they don't know what the fuck is going on. So they'll say, "Oh, look at the crime and the guns and the corruption." Where does it come from? Because they can't pay their officers the right amount of money. That's why. So who's stealing all the money from Kenya? Oh, it's the British who never fucking left Kenya, who control and own Kenya today, who control and own Nigeria.
It's still the British. It is still the British, kid. I agree with you. And we are almost, we are of course coming to the end of the show. But Kid, thank you for your sentiments. That is for a fact that some documentaries or rather some undercover information can get to be done. But what you really want to hear is not done, because definitely the mainstream media is being controlled. And Kid, you can give your shout out, or you can give your...
My parting shot is praise fake white Jesus. Where are you, white Jesus, during this pandemic? That black people.
Kit, you're breaking. Kit, can you hear me? I think it is breaking, but I want to appreciate the light bearer at Bruce Wayne for tuning in to the show. I'll also love to appreciate that is at Raymond Hubbard for tuning in to the show, and all that is everyone who was watching the show. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you for keeping it the Black Hot Fire Network. Thank you for keeping it the Calmie African Diary Show. It has been a delight interacting with the family, and we'll get to interact on other shows as well. That is a few minutes from now. I believe your Monday is turning out to be quite fine, but if it is not, press on, because at the end of the day, only you got yourself right. My name is Calmie. This has been the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century, and you can simply get to log on to www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Once you are logged in, you can now, that is what some of the videos, you can share some of these videos. You can also get to listen to the music. You can also proceed to get, that is to read some of the blogs, and you can also contribute to support the stream. We highly appreciate that one. Muwe na siku njema, and thank you so much for joining me here on the Calmie African Diary Show. Do have a great day, and thank you so much for keeping it the Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. All right, here we go.
Yeah, Josephine. It's Die Heartbeat. From the crown of my head to the sole of my feet.